Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And I told you guys about this video, and now it is time. And I found this on Jeff's channel many years ago. It could have been even before I started my own channel, and I searched his channel for this prior to filming today. I did not find it. Maybe that's an issue with the keywords, but I think I could have been able to find it relatively easily. It is, or it was called, something like Why I Almost Took Steroids But Stayed Natural, or something like that. Okay, so some breaking news right before this video comes out. I searched one more time. This is as of July 25th, 2025. And it looks like the video is up now. I searched Jeff Nippard Why I Almost Took Steroids, and you can see it's from 7 years ago. His video is called My Unfiltered Opinion on Steroids and Why I Almost Took Them. I don't know if he changed that title, but I searched for this before. It did not show up for me. I saw other people in my comments saying similar, so I don't know if Jeff or somebody from his camp heard rumblings about what I was about to do with this video, and maybe they decided, hey, let's put this back up. So not only did I save this because I was kinda stunned that he would publicly put this up and keep it up, but also I realized, if Jeff ever really pisses me off one day, or if he kinda goes off the rails, I can kinda have this in my back pocket. And now here we are. It was pretty amusing to see Jeff, who pretty much everybody says across the board has excellent genetics. He stood there and got mogged by these two young guys who've been training for a fraction, very small fraction, of the time he's been training. And he just was like, oh, well, it just is what it is with great genetics and lots of training. And they've had not lots of training. So a lot of people now are saying that Jeff has totally nuked his credibility. I don't think that's being too far-fetched, at least in terms of this subject. In terms of, training and stuff, someone being natural or not really has no bearing on that. Some people think that it does, but someone can be on boatloads of PEDs and still be correct about training and have good insights. Somebody natural could be the opposite. So that's not a linear correlation. That said, when it comes to this subject, if Jeff is willing to not only answer and kind of be wishy-washy, oh, I'm skeptical, but I'll give them benefit of the doubt. He made an entire video production for these guys. So if he's willing to do that, I can understand people that do not trust him anymore on this subject. And Jeff has since made some Instagram posts since this video came out, and he is still doubling down, it seems like. And as you can imagine, as I told you what happened with him or anybody else, tons of people across the industry are coming to his defense, and Julian and Hassan's defense, and saying, oh, it's genetics, and it's jealous haters, and the blood work is proof they compete naturally, or even if other testing was done, people would never believe you. This is never going to end, guys. The mafia is too big, it's too strong, and there's too many people that are going to believe them no matter what. So keep that in mind too, as some of the guys that you like have not spoken about this, and they won't. Or if they have and they've done the, benefit of the doubt card, or if they outright defend it, maybe ask yourself why that is. And from what I saw too, Greg Doucette is now making videos and a bunch of comments talking about how blood work is actually very indicative of somebody's status, despite previously saying otherwise, and he says the blood work is actually more valid now than WADA testing. Yeah, who could have seen that coming? Except me. Of course, the blood work metric that gets obsessed over is testosterone, because it drives protein synthesis, muscle mass, fat metabolism, and metabolic rate. Steroids amp up testosterone, which causes rapid body composition changes so quickly. However, testosterone is not the only number that we should care about, nor is it the only number that gives us an insight into somebody's natural status. Total testosterone is just one piece of the hormone puzzle. Even so, we have no way of knowing this without fancy lab equipment and medical professionals. But thankfully, you don't need a doctor's appointment to learn more about your health anymore. If you've ever wondered where your testosterone levels stand, or if you want a full picture of your health with blood work or other lab tests, my sponsor, LabCorp On Demand, offers over 80 tests. The process is very easy. Go to trylco.com/revival and use code REVIVAL. Purchase your desired tests, then make an appointment or walk in to one of LabCorp's 2,000 plus patient service centers across the United States for your sample collection. The entire process is very seamless. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You go in, you get your name called, they measure what they have to from you, and then you get out. It is that simple. The comprehensive testosterone test gives an encompassing look at not only total testosterone, but free T, albumin, and SHBG. Free testosterone is arguably more important than total because it's the active form that is readily available for use in the body. Sometimes, even if total test is high, free test might be low, which can manifest as low T symptoms. Albumin is the body's most abundant blood circulating protein. It carries testosterone, among other hormones, and notably low or high levels of albumin may indicate liver, kidney, or thyroid issues. SHBG stands for sex hormone binding globulin, and it's a protein produced mainly in the liver. If SHBG is notably high, more testosterone will bind to it, resulting in less free T available in the body. These four metrics provide a much more complete picture of hormones, and they work symbiotically with each other. When you test, your sample will be collected using the same methods as the doctor's office. There's no need to prick your own finger. Testing is performed at LabCorp's CAP-accredited, CLIA-certified clinical laboratories that typically process 3 million samples every week. You can even skip the waiting room and wait in your car or outside until the lab technician is ready to see you. You'll be notified by email when your results are ready to view, as early as the next day. You'll be able to clearly see your results in your confidential LabCorp On Demand patient account online. If any results require prompt attention, you will be contacted by phone or email to discuss the best steps going forward. So stop playing the guessing game. Get the insights you need to live the life that you want. Go to trylco.com/revival and use code REVIVAL to get 20% off of your lab test. Alright, call me Uncle Phil, because I think I'm about to have to throw Jeff out of the house.
Check it. So we've got the Queen of Clubs, right? So we can take the card, put it here in the middle of the deck, just like that.
So we're starting with a magic trick. Perhaps that's innuendo.
Look at
what the heck? What?
We can take it, we can put it right here in the middle of the deck, just like that. Flick it a couple times. And it's back on top. You can put it all the way on the bottom. And flick. It's back.
Bro.
Well, some of you may think I'm reading into this too much, but that really is how it goes whenever you have these people that take PEDs that beat so-called testing and prove that they're natural. It's essentially a little magic trick that they do. But as we know, actual magic does not exist. There are aspects and techniques to any trick, and if you know them, you can learn how to do it yourself.
What's going on, everyone? So it's Saturday, November the 18th, and today is the day of NPC Nationals. What I wanted to do was, in light of my last sort of like rant in yesterday's vlog, where I talked about my next competition season, I wanted to do a little chat just about bodybuilding in general and some misconceptions in the sport. In bodybuilding, unlike a lot of other sports, especially Olympic sports, you actually have two streams of competition. One stream, drug tests quite rigorously, so usually that's through urinalysis, maybe blood testing, and usually polygraph testing.
Okay, so right off the bat, he's wrong. He said rigorous testing. It is not rigorous, really, at any level of competition in bodybuilding. I mean, he just mentioned polygraph. That is the one that's going to be most commonly used, from what I can tell. That is not rigorous at all. That's a complete joke and a farce. Blood work may be done. Urine testing may be done too. As I've explained to you guys, though, oftentimes only a very, very small percentage of the competitive field will actually get tested. Oftentimes maybe only the top 1 or 2 people overall or in each class.
Which is another can of worms, but I basically see polygraph testing as sort of like a deterrent. If you're legitimately using, you're probably not going to want to have to try to fake and pass a polygraph test. Even though it's not the most accurate thing in the world, I think it does still reduce the number of steroid users that there are or might be from trying to just pass a piss test. It's like another barrier to entry sort of thing.
He admits that polygraph testing is not accurate because it isn't. This has been well known for a long time now. But he's like, oh, it's kind of like a failsafe because if you really wanted to cheat, you wouldn't want to have to sit in a chair and say you don't take steroids for a few minutes. I think that's very faulty logic, but okay.
And then you also have a stream of bodybuilding where they don't test and everyone knows they don't test.
Yeah, that's a lot of so-called natural bodybuilding.
If you want to use performance-enhancing drugs, this is the stream that you should compete in. In the general public, I feel like this is much less known. I feel like a lot of people think that, like in the Olympics or in other sports, there is rigorous testing in bodybuilding generally, and there really isn't.
Didn't you just say that there was when it came to natural federations?
I see this sort of as a positive thing because where you have these two streams, if you want to compete naturally, you can compete in the natural organizations, and if you want to use performance-enhancing substances, then you can compete in the organizations that don't test. And I think that what this does in practice is it reduces the number of people who are using in the natural organizations compared to other sports.
In theory, yes, but in reality, I do not think it pans out that way. I mean, I don't know how you could really quantify this, but I don't know how many examples you need to see. Like I have said, for the people that claim natural, oftentimes it's their entire life. They have no personality beyond, I'm a natural bodybuilder. And as a marketing tool, as I'm sure you know, that can be very, very effective.
And so, because that's the way it's set up, you have these two streams. Someone's decision to use or not to use is basically their personal choice.
All right, Jeff, we're not saying a whole lot here. Can we get somewhere?
There isn't the same ethical weight put on that decision as there would be in other sports where everyone is tested. As long as someone isn't using and competing in drug-tested federations, then they're not, a cheater or looking for shortcuts necessarily or anything that you would tend to associate with steroid users in other sports.
Well, he's correct about that. I love whenever people comment, every steroid user's a cheater. It's like, if it's not tested and someone competes untested, how is it cheating? If someone is just going about their life and doesn't even do any competition and they want to use, what's the cheating? And people say, oh, you're cheating God or life or something. It's like, I mean, okay, sure, if that makes you feel better, but it's not actual cheating in terms of any rule book.
In my case, when I was 19 years old and doing my first bodybuilding competition, this is something I actually haven't shared on the channel before, but I had essentially made the decision to use anabolic substances at around 4 weeks out. My mentors and my friends at the time were basically saying to me, if you take this and that, and I forget exactly what it was, but I think one of the supplements was Winstraw, and they were basically like, if you use this, you have the genetics.
Okay, you notice he cannot look at the camera. He just keeps looking to the side and down and all this other stuff. This is screaming guilty conscience. I think it was Winstraw. You know damn well what it was, Jeff.
And you're in a spot now where I think you could win the whole show. And to me at 19 years old, this was extremely motivating to me.
This guy's like out of breath talking. He can't even get the words out.
And I was basically like, you know what? I'll use it. I've put all this hard work and dedication into this show, and given everything I've put into it, it was basically worth it for me to just do it. It was just some pills I had to take, and then I would win, and kind of just on a whim decided that yes, I would do it. Now, as it turns out, it never got delivered to me, or they never came in, or what have you, so I just never ended up taking them.
They never got delivered. So you placed an order, and it just didn't show up? I'm not going to say that's impossible. Sometimes packages get lost in the mail, and, who knows, the dog bites the mailman, or something, but do you believe that it just didn't show up by happenstance?
And I'm really glad that happened just completely by chance.
Completely by chance, okay.
Because it was after that I was basically introduced to the sphere of natural bodybuilding and was able to be very successful as a natural bodybuilder because of that sort of fluke decision.
Was he competing like untested prior to that point? I don't know. Did you switch from a non-tested show to a tested show?
Now, if they had actually come in, I don't know if I would have actually taken them. My friend Alberto Nunez has a really similar story to this, where he actually had, I think, the bottle of pills or whatever it was in his hands, and he was going to use them, and he ended up flushing them down the toilet and became one of the most successful natural bodybuilders out there, at least in the online space.
Keep stuttering there, Jeff. Also, too, Nunez is one of the prominent natural bodybuilders. He's part of one of kind of the well-known coaching teams I believe he watches here, or he used to. I'm sure he's not going to watch here anymore, especially if he sees this. But he's been in Jeff's comment section defending Hassan and Julian. I noticed with him, he has said Mike O'Hearn's not natural. You remember what I said in the recent video? These guys all draw the line at Mike O'Hearn, oddly. Oh, O'Hearn's clearly faking it. But then Julian's not. Hassan isn't. Doug Miller isn't. For some reason, Mike O'Hearn is like the mythical hard line for these dudes. Why would that be? Is it because Mike O'Hearn, collabs with steroid users and doesn't really make it his entire identity? He claims it. I think he still does. But it's never been his entire brand, from what I can tell. And what a surprise that another fellow natural bodybuilder has a similar story. I believe I saw an Instagram clip too a while ago of Will Tennyson. I didn't save it, so I don't know for sure. But I swear it was Tennyson sitting down in an interview saying the same thing. I had them in my hands, I was about to take them, and then I just decided no. All these guys have very similar stories. Almost like it's scripted.
And he's always been a really big inspiration to me.
Yeah, seems like he gave you this story to tell by the looks of it.
And I'm sure a lot of other naturals probably share a similar story to this.
Yeah, like I just said, isn't that crazy how common this scenario is?
It's very tempting to want to use, especially early in your career when you see the potential that you have. However, I think that for me now, in retrospect, this decision should be made with a little bit more of an informed or educated perspective.
Well, you said that you had, was it a coach or people in the industry that were mentoring you already that told you to take the stuff? So, you were getting informed to some extent. I'm sure you had some education.
And that's why I made my video on steroids, my Science Explained video on steroids, as a way to sort of show that there are negative health effects associated with steroid abuse.
I like the very gentle background music he added to this video too.
And this should be an informed decision that you make, not one that's sort of just made on a whim. One important issue around this is that it can lead to sort of a slippery slope. So while it's true that there are more and less healthy ways to use steroids in practice, not necessarily everyone using is really unhealthy and at risk of heart attack and all of this.
He's correct about that. I still always laugh when people just broad stroke every single steroid user. Oh, gonna die by 40. Your health is a train wreck. It's that's just not true. For some people, of course it is. But for the majority even, it just isn't. So that type of conjecture is one of the reasons why the Natty Crusaders lose these conversations. Because they say dumb shit like that.
What can happen, in my experience, is say you take something for your first show, you're always going to want to improve on that. And so I find what can happen is instead of focusing on perfecting your training and your diet, you can become hyper-focused on the pharmacology. And basically what this means in practice is you just have to take more and more drugs to sort of make your physique more impressive from show to show.
It's not a good idea to rely on the PEDs. You guys are going to see in a very soon-to-be-released video, it could even be out by the time you see this one, but the average guy on steroids, or even woman, their results are laughable compared to what you expect them to be. That said, if someone is competing at a high level and winning, their training is most likely already very dialed in. Same with the food. Unless they're a genetic mastodon and they can just get away with doing anything. But it's not common for a successful bodybuilder to only be focusing on, as he calls it, the pharmacology. They're also going to look at the training and diet too.
And I think that can be a really big temptation and present a really powerful slippery slope for people. So as for the competition that we're going to, this is a competition that's in the untested stream, but that isn't to say that everyone on stage is using. I think that especially with the introduction of some of these new divisions, so men's physique, women's bikini, which isn't that new, but also men's classic physique, I think that there is a potential for guys with good genetics, a history of training experience, and an optimized training nutrition approach. You can be successful in some of these divisions as a natural.
Bodybuilding used to only just be what is now known as open. There would be different weight classes, but there was really only one sort of broad category that everybody had to fit in. So there's many categories now, and especially for the women, they have categories from the skinny bikini girls all the way up to bodybuilding. But even so, as I'm sure that you see, the standards just get crazier and crazier every year. They introduce a new division to be not as crazy, then the craziest people win, and then the divisions become what they were supposed to not be, and it just repeats itself.
And I've actually seen this with guys like Doug Miller.
Doug Miller. Look at the screen. This is what Doug Miller looks like. Do you believe this guy is natural, let alone lifetime natural? I'll let you decide, but this is one of the guys that all of the so-called natural competitors will say, oh, he's natural, he has to be. I competed against him, he passed the testing. So to recap, this guy is all natural, and these guys all will defend him, but Mike O'Hearn isn't. So you can decide why the line is drawn there.
Cleveland Thomas, they were very successful in natural bodybuilding organizations and then went on to be successful in the untested streams as a natural. I'm not sure if this would hold true on the pro level, but I certainly think that as an amateur, it is possible to do well as a natural in those new divisions.
If you have somebody with genetics like, say, Julian Fitzgerald, and if he trains for a number of years with his God-given genetics, he could most likely get to a national level without ever taking steroids.
And that's something that I would consider myself, especially classic physique, just because where you wear the slightly longer trunks, your glutes are covered up. And so you don't have to get quite to the same level of conditioning that you'd have to get to in natural bodybuilding.
That's something else too. You often hear the term natty conditioning. All of the so-called natural guys talk about how shredded they get. And they'll say like, oh, the enhanced guys can't get as lean as we do because they're on so many steroids, they hold so much water, which is not even a guarantee necessarily. But you see how shredded some of the natural guys get. I mean, they look sickly, but like I mentioned, the standards are so extreme now, even in the natural federations, which are the ones you think would want to push for the more like attainable aesthetic. That is not true at all. The natural federations have these guys that are peeled out of their minds, and they look grotesque to the average person.
So anyway, I'm a huge fan of bodybuilding, whether natural or not, and I feel like I can draw inspiration and knowledge from all sorts of different athletes and be motivated by all sorts of different physiques.
I do agree with that, and I like that he brought that up, because so many natural guys, they love to pick and choose the self-righteous naturals. They love to pick and choose the enhanced guys that they love or hate. So they say broad stroke, all these enhanced guys are bad influences and they're pieces of shit, and you should never listen to them. Oh, except this guy, and this guy that I like. They're cool, and they're enhanced. But the rest of these enhanced guys, they're bad. You guys are full of shit. And don't forget too, if they've got a business interest with said guy as well, they will totally forget about everything they said. You have this guy who's enhanced, they collaborate with him, all of a sudden he's not a bad guy, he's not a cheater, they're not morally superior, they're all buddy-buddy with him.
And I don't want this talk to come across in any way as being disrespectful. I have the utmost respect for anyone who gets on stage, especially at the national level.
Well, I don't know what would come across as disrespectful in this video, besides the fact that a lot of people are going to perceive this as you're insulting their intelligence.
But given my reach here, and especially my potential to reach a younger demographic, I thought it would be nice to just share my perspective on the two streams in bodybuilding culture, and just let you guys know my thoughts on the matter. So right now, Rashawn, Stephanie, I think, and I are gonna go for a workout. So Rashawn's actually training legs today.
Oh, they had to sit there and just listen to him yammer on the entire time? So that is the video. And out of that entire thing, it was about 10 minutes in length. We got, 10 seconds of him saying, I ordered the stuff, and it didn't show up. And that was it. That was his entire explanation. And then he talked about other guys who have ordered the stuff and had it in their hands. And then, oh, I won't do that. I'm a good person. I flush it down the toilet. So you can be the judge here as to whether you believe Jeff currently and or whether you believe him in the past as well. And based on the rate that things are going now, it's not going to surprise me if soon Julian competes in a natural show, so-called natural show, and he gets his pro card. Or who knows what's going to happen. But it's probably going to be a circus, and I'll be here to guide us through it all. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out LabCorp down below. Use code REVIVAL for 20% off of your test. Check out my training programs and my nutrition guide. Stop wasting your time in the gym and in the kitchen, whether natural or enhanced. And check out my other videos on this topic too, because There's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of things that young lifters especially need to learn. And I will catch you guys next time.